me and the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. You know, I'm new to politics, but I'm not new to the Valley. I was born, bred, and raised here, right up the street at Memorial Hospital. My parents brought me home to Bartlett. We were just on the other side of the track, so technically, and this was something I found out after I started running, was my first home in the Valley was technically in Bartlett. They moved to Conway when I was, you know, just an infant, and I grew up through the Conway Elementary School system to Kennett Middle School to Kennett High School. Was a co-captain of the soccer team and of the ski team. Had a slew of state championships as well as individual medals for Kennett and the town and representing our local area that way. From there, I took off and went to our alma mater. I went to UVM. You know, go Cats go. Different Cats, because I wasn't a Wildcat. I went over there to ski. Okay. And the day after I signed my letter of intent senior year, I crashed and injured myself and got to the UVM side of things. And I was a small fish when I got to that big pond. And I didn't end up racing, and I lost my scholarship. So I had to find out a way to pay for school. And this was 1996-7. Okay. So by 1998, ROTC was a very, very safe operation and a safe way to go to pay for college. And a number of my classmates from Kennett had gone there as well as the ROTC route. And, you know, I took my commission in 2001 on August 3rd, and 39 days later, the world changed. And now I was in it, and I was an officer. And I'd been on the ambulance for years as an EMT and played rugby and interfraternity council, and I was very, very active. And now here I was in a new world and looking at a new way to a new world is the only really good way to put it. And immediately thrust into a counterinsurgency operation where we had been training for near peer against Russian and Chinese threats, and now we were fighting small wars. I did 8+ years, 8 years give or take, in the Army as an active duty officer. You know, knocked out Ranger School and Airborne School, Honor Graduates, Sapper School, Mountain Warfare. I got to go to all the cool schools. My friend's dad gave me a recommendation before I went in. We were over at his house. He's like, if they ever offer you something, you take it. You know, never say no. Never say no. If they give you a school, you go. So, you know, I went to some crazy schools, had a really good time. And, you know, did very well in that line of work. And they ended up giving me a master's degree, which was great. So I got my undergrad paid for. I got my graduate school paid for. In 2007, my last deployment was to Afghanistan. And I was a combat advisor working with the Afghan National Army and the Afghan National Police. And my focus was on civil affairs and how to change minds and how to find the middle. And that focus of how to change minds and how to find the middle was the best lesson in tolerance you could ever imagine. You know, living on an Afghan base. Yeah, living on an Afghan base, eating Afghan food, going to the Afghan market, you know, sending my interpreter, hey, I want, you know, give me $5 worth of pomegranates. You know, there should be 2 or 3 American. He came back with 2 or 3 bags of pomegranates. And it was like, whoa. You know, so it was just eye-opening on so many different levels. And helping to rebuild schools and mosques and wells and community centers and just helping a population. And I was supported by the Kennett Middle School and the community here at large. And they were sending over humanitarian aid packages that I was pushing out into the schools.
Pogey bait.
Yes, Pogey bait as another military guy right there. Pogey bait. So, you know, the candy and the stuff that we take for granted here that they had never seen. So, in between civil medical assessments and whatnot, and doing those construction projects and other things, I managed to slam my back and had an injury and continued to operate for another 6 months. And eventually they flew me out right before Thanksgiving because I had decompensated to the point where I was having a hard time walking and, you know, incontinent. So they flew me right to Germany and went through Landstuhl, and the surgeon sees me the next morning. He's like, all right, son, you're done. I'm like, all right, I'm going back to my team. He's like, no, you're done. And I'm like, well, what do you mean I'm done? He's like, your military career is over. You're done. The medical